Hey there fellow tennis junkies, today we're going to be taking a look at one of Head's strings for players looking for more control, more spin, more durability, the Head Lynx Tour. Let's take a look at it. So I'm just going to be playing some point play footage, some match play footage that I had with my hitting partner Zeke, and just kind of talking about the string and how I feel about it. I decided to go ahead and order this string in the orange colorway. There are a couple of other options that are available. I can go and throw them up on the screen for you guys. I was actually pleasantly surprised with this string. It was only $12 on Tennis Warehouse plus taxes and shipping and all that good stuff. But it was actually good. Like, typically whenever big name companies try and throw out a string that's in that lower price range, such as like Luxilon trying to make like an $11, $10 string, whatever it may be, it typically just doesn't live up to the company's name, if that makes sense. And so that $12 price tag is kind of cheap, especially whenever you look at other strings such as Head Hawk, made by Head, which is around $17, I believe. So I was pleasantly surprised to see the price point around 12 bucks. While I was stringing it up, I noticed that it was shaped. It does have a hexagonal shape. So ideally it's gonna have a little bit of added bite, a little bit of added spin, which I did notice. I did notice that I had some extra spin. It was nice. It kind of gripped the ball a little bit more than some of those other rounder strings that Head has. For example, Head Hawk. I'm gonna kind of compare Lynx Tour to that just because I recently played with Head Hawk, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. But I just remember playing with it and thinking, man, like the ball is just flying off the string almost instantly. But with this Lynx Tour, it actually kind of gripped onto it nice. I was able to redirect it kind of anywhere I really wanted to. And you kind of don't get that with a lot of string. It had a nice dwell time. I think the term most people use is ball pocketing. I think it had a pretty nice ball pocket rating or something like that. I really did enjoy playing with this string, especially from the baseline. The baseline, it just shined. And at the net, it felt pretty crisp. Like over time the string kind of broke in a little bit. It lost a little bit of its tension maintenance, so I kind of felt that at the net as time went on with the string. I played with it for roughly 8 or 9 hours, maybe 10. And I did definitely feel maybe around the 4-hour mark or so that there was kind of a tension drop. But I mean, it still felt pretty crisp at the net, not too bad. The string actually provided really, really nice touch. I think one of the big things I noticed recently with those strings that are made for spin, those really sharp strings that don't have very good feel. They kind of feel hollow and I guess gross. I don't really know a better way to describe it. It just feels meh. It just doesn't feel great. And so anyway, I really did like how this one felt at the net. I really didn't feel that hollow feeling at all. I wouldn't call the string stiff. I wouldn't necessarily call it soft either. It was definitely kind of in that middle ground. I would probably compare this one to Hyper G. This feels to me like Head's attempt to make a Hyper G type string. And honestly, I could kind of see it. I mean, it's affordable. It's in that same price range. It's got a nice spin rating. It kind of grips the ball pretty well, pretty similar to Hyper G. They have it in that super bright color, so it plays a little bit livelier. It's definitely a livelier string. If you're looking for all control, this one's not going to be a good option for you. Head Hawk Rough might be a better option just because Hawk is going to have less power. This Lynx Tour was nice. It had great spin, but it was definitely not a dead feeling string. It was very lively, from my experience anyway. Reading up on some reviews on things like Tennis Warehouse and things, sites like that, I did notice that some people were saying that they were struggling to get some power with it, and that wasn't really my experience. I think what the string allowed me to do is with that extra grip on the ball, the extra ball pocketing, I was kind of able to swing out a little bit more and put a little bit of pace on it. So the string itself might not be that lively, but it allowed me to play with some more pop. But again, I mean, I string my racket super loose. For this play test, I strung it at 32.5 pounds, which I know sounds unbelievable. It sounds crazy, I know. That's my normal tension. That's how I play nowadays, so it's not a super weird play test or anything like that. I do plan on making a video about why I play with such a low tension in the near future. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. So just taking a look here at the Tennis Warehouse listing, I do see that they scored it very high for spin at an 89. Control was a 93. I kind of understand that, especially because the spin can help you control the ball, help you create some angles, things like that. And the feel was an 81. I 100% agree with that. The feel of this string was great. Like I was saying earlier at the net, it just feels so, I don't know, I just felt like I could really control it. I felt like I could absorb the pace from a hard ball coming at me, and I also felt like I could create my own just by kind of punching those volleys back. So that was a very nice surprise. I definitely wasn't expecting that from the string. Like I was saying earlier, it is hexagonal, but it's not necessarily sharp. Whenever I'm stringing with it, it was definitely not as sharp as Hyper G or like a Confidential. So that was nice because there was a nice little snapback. It was pretty slick, so it was kind of sliding back on itself, and that was definitely nice. I was a pretty big fan of that little like snapback feeling, especially because I do play at such a low tension. It is nice for strings to not get stuck, and so I definitely noticed that with this one that it actually held its own. It was able to snap back, and it didn't become a string that I was constantly readjusting and things like that. I've run into some strings like that, especially these sharper, rougher ones. They tend to drive me up the wall, one of my biggest pet peeves. So having a little bit of like that slick coating that they add on there was really nice, help with the snapback. I do think that the string has a livelihood of roughly 9, maybe 10 hours. I hit pretty hard, especially on the serve, so that could kind of help, or kind of helped deaden the string a little bit. But for $12, I mean, a 10-hour session with the string, that's really not too bad. You could definitely play with it for longer if you're not a big string breaker, but I do believe that it's gonna kind of hit that dead zone right about at the 10-hour mark. If you're looking for a string with some more durability or more playability, a longer playable time, I would definitely look into the non-sided strings. I think once they start making those strings a little bit sharper, things like that, it can cause the playability to go down a little bit. But again, it's totally usable. Even if you're not breaking the string, it's still completely usable at that 8 or 9 hour mark. I didn't have a problem with it. I did just notice a tension drop. So if you're planning on keeping the string in there for a while, you're not a string breaker, I would definitely up the tension a little bit and account for that drop that you're gonna have after that 9-10 hour mark. And that can really help set you up there. For players who I'd recommend this to, I would definitely recommend this to players who like to swing big from the baseline. Like myself. I was pleasantly surprised with this string. I think it fit my game pretty well. I was able to get a good amount of spin. It was not my favorite spin string that I've ever tried, but I was able to get a decent amount of spin. It was nice. It was just enough to kind of let me add a little bit of extra height, a little bit of not heft, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit extra weight to the ball. On those super spinny shots that I was hitting, and especially up there at the net, those little drop shots, those little angle curves, things like that. It was super nice to kind of just use the spin to my advantage. So I mean, I would really recommend this for junior players who are in that high varsity range, a little bit mid varsity, or anything above, just because you're going to be allowed to swing out on the ball and really like take advantage of the string because of that added spin. It helps to keep the ball in. If you're just a straight up flat hitter, I wouldn't recommend it. I feel like there's really no benefit to you. If you're just a flat hitter, you shouldn't really be looking for spin strings. It's kind of unnecessary. But then on the other end of the spectrum, if you're a super spinny player, there's definitely other options for you. So this is definitely for that aggressive baseliner who likes to either flatten out the ball or hit that good neutral ball. It kind of allows for that. It's definitely in the middle string. It's not super spinny, not super flat either. I mean, overall, I love the string. I might even try this out some more, maybe test this, make this my new personal string. I'm not really sure. But I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. If you have any sort of questions, comments, anything like that, you can drop them down below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more string reviews. I do have some more on the way. I do have Vocal Cyclone, and I have Signum Pro Firestorm is in the works, which is what Matteo Berrettini uses. So if you're looking for some more string reviews, make sure you add the notifications on there so you guys get notifications as soon as I post. If you've ever used Lynx Tour, make sure you drop a comment and kind of tell me what you think, what your thoughts. Maybe we're kind of butting heads on our own ideas here, but I'd love to have a little conversation with you down below in the comments. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.